still be determined. So we'll see. And we play there till the till the game is till the regular season is over. So I don't know. I think we got left like 13 or 12 games, something like that, and it should be 3 games per day, I think,
Wow.
in that arena. So
let's see.
yeah.
Until when you're now like for sure off? Like, do they have a date?
Not yet. We have to stay home for till end of April, and then I think they're gonna extend it. They were talking about it to start like practice session in the groups maybe next month, and 3 weeks before, or no, third week in June start training camp, like mini training camp, and July 1st go to Edmonton and start playing.
They did that in Finland last week. One of the clubs started a small group training, and one of the junior players who was coming from the U20 was got a call to the training group of the pro team, and he actually catched the virus, and then he went to train, and now half the team is quarantined. Yeah,
Huh.
just a few days ago happened in Finland.
Crazy.
Big news now.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 20 players here.
Mimochodem, Nosy, to neříkej, ale ty víš, který hráč z Otavy to byl. To měl ten virus.
Jo, vím.
Mi to pak řekneš na seči třeba, když to nebude tady.
To ne, že můžu klidně teďka.
Co to není tajný.
No, nevím. Tak oni to asi zneřejňují, ale tak já vím, kdo to je.
Okay, good. It's noon. Let's start. If some players are coming a little bit late, and that's okay. So everybody, keep your microphones off until I give you your turn to talk with Tomas, ask your question. Camera is on because we want to see everybody who's with us. And thank you, Tomas, for joining us. Very kind of you to give your time for us. I'm just going to start off with the question that I'm interested of, and then I'm going to give a turn for you guys. So what do you, Tomas? How would you describe a good team player, a good teammate? And can you name any specific player that you played with who you can say that is a great team player?
It's kind of hard to find your role in your team, but everyone has to find
We'll come back.
some things like that. I know everyone wants to score. Yeah?
Teď se to seklo, že to seklo, nemohl bys říct poslední 2 věty znova.
A kde jsem skončil?
Že každý musí najít svoji roli.
Yeah, and everyone has to find your role in a team. Be a good teammate. Be supportive, and that takes some guts to do that sometimes, because the role is not always pretty. You have to, for example, defend more than you used to be. Than you used to play. You have to focus more on the defensive side of the game, so it's not that not a fun. And when I came to the US, I was an offensive player, and I have to adjust myself to be more defensive player to get to the NHL. And I know it sounds boring sometimes, but
Bad connection in Nevada.
that it's important that that you know the rule in your team, and that's what makes a team a great team.
Perfect. Good. Thank you. Okay, so boys, now I'm gonna give the turn for you. So when I call your name, please open your microphone, ask your question, keep it open if you want to add a little question, and then when I give the turn to somebody else, turn off your mic, please. So let's start with did I see Preston here? Preston, if you're here, can you open your mic?
Yeah, I'm just listening in because I got class, but I'm just listening to what you have to say.
Okay, all right. Okay, so good. Ethan Lau. Ethan Lau, can you please turn on your microphone and ask your question?
My question is, what's your mindset when you're playing in a game, especially like when you're losing in the game? How do you like overcome it with your mindset? Like, how do you think like in a good way, and like do you support your teammates?
That's a tough question. Honestly, yeah, it's part of the game. A lot of time you'll be down by 1 or 2 or 3 or more goals. You have to keep focused on playing your game and not get distracted, I think, and keep focusing on your game plan, and trust your game plan and your game that will bring you fruit. So it's one of the biggest things in for those kind of opportunities in a game that you're losing, and you need to come back. It's very important, and I think I would said overcome your opponent is always great, and if you win that game, it's something special for sure.
Good, thank you, Ethan. Jonathan. Oh, Johnny, if you hear me, please open your microphone. Yes, you have a question to ask.
Yes, so my question is, what was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome
it? In your hockey life, right?
In my hockey life? Okay.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of injuries during my career, especially when I was younger. So that was probably one of the biggest biggest problems in my career. So for example, I got my first national team years old. It was important tournament before draft, and I didn't go there. That's why probably maybe, or I don't know, I never get drafted. So and then again, my first my first game in top league in Czech got postponed because I got hurt before that game again, and it was a lot of injuries. So probably my injuries gets me stronger, and even work me. I have to work even harder than I work before. So overcome the injuries is probably the biggest thing for me.
Okay.
Good, thank you, Johnny. Alex Chuck is a young, tough defender. You have a good question, Alex, please.
So my question is, in your opinion, who is the best player in the Golden Knights, and how did you feel when you were drafted by the Detroit Red Wings?
I was never drafted by they signed me as a free agent. And the second part is Toto Drui.
Who's the best player in Vegas, by your opinion?
The best player in Vegas for me is Marc-Andre Fleury. I think he's our best player by far. I think without him, we'll be dead. We'll be dead in the first season. Not to go through the pretty much all the way in the playoffs. And yeah, I think he's the best player for us.
Okay, good. Brendan.
So my question is, how was your first goal like? How do you feel? And which team did you go against the first goal?
First NHL goal, or?
Yeah, the first NHL goal.
So my first NHL goal was I think now it's 4 years ago. I was still in Detroit back then. I was playing for Red Wings against Carolina, and it was not nice goal. It was kind of just easy rebound, but I was happy back then for sure to score my NHL goal. I was super excited, and it's a great feeling. One of those I will remember for the rest of my life.
You have the puck?
Oh, of course I do have the puck.
Good, nice. Okay, good. Adrian Fung, you have a really good question. I like this one.
Here's my question. How do you train to be better?
Say again, please.
How do you train to be better?
How do I train to be better? I always try to do something more than the others. So when the session is done or the practice or game is done, I always try to do something more after to get my strength up or speed up or whatever I can do off the ice to get better on the ice. So I try to do that, and always try to work hard and just work hard. Yeah, I know it's hard it's easy to say and hard to do, but it's one of the biggest thing to work hard. Talent is not enough in these days. You have to work hard. Even Crosby works hard. Even McDavid works hard. So talent it's not enough, and you have to work hard every day.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay, is Randy here? Randolph Mack, are you with us? Randy, yes. Yeah, okay, Randy, go ahead.
My question is, how does it feel to play with so many fans?
For me, it's a great feeling. I'm always and it was especially back in the Czech Republic in the top league when the crowd it's not sold out, so every game. So it's sometimes just a couple. I don't know, maybe 60% of the whole capacity of the arena. So I always play. I was always more pumped up when the arena was sold out and people were crazy and screaming. So I always enjoy that time again in front of fans. So I like fans, and it's a great feeling for me to stand in front of them and play in a best league in the world.
Good. That's an interesting topic, how to turn the people and the fans on your advantage and not to be nervous about it.
Yeah, that's
You have
right.
any your own experience when you're younger that you were nervous on going in front of the crowds, and how did you deal with it?
For sure, you have to deal with those situations. I mean, when I was little, I was nervous a lot too. I know that feeling now, so I try to tell you what helped me. It's just kurva, já jsem zapomněl, co jsem chtěl říct. Na co se ptal?
Co ti pomohlo proti nervozitě, když byl menší, chtěl říct? Když byl mladší, když byl nervózní před rodičema.
Yeah, and it didn't help me to play better. So after a couple games in pros, I told myself I have to stop to be nervous or I will be out, because you have to play every game 100%, even when you get there, or they're gonna sit you on to the stand. So I always try to just clear my head and take a deep breath and just enjoy that game, and don't worry what everyone else thinks, so just enjoy the game and don't be nervous. It doesn't help you. It won't help you, and just take a deep breath and be glad that you can play the best game in the world.
One of the former NHL goalie once said, "It's just a hockey. Why you have to be mad?" That's what he said.
Yeah, it's just a hockey.
Yeah. Okay, good. Gasper, are you here with us today?
Yeah. So
Yes.
my question is, why do you enjoy playing hockey?
I said before, I think it's the best game in the world. It's a fast game, and there's a lot of contact too. So it's not like ladies' game, or I don't. The world will be so říkat. No, I like it. It's fast and creative, and it's the best game in the world for me.
Okay.
Good,
Thank you.
Then we had Trevor had a little bit similar what you already answered. What is the most difficult thing you overcome as you work yourself to become an NHL player? I think we touched it a little bit with the injuries, and also we had colleagues also wanted to ask, what's the most difficult thing you experienced in your hockey life? Would that go to the injury part as well?
If I'm not gonna count injuries, the biggest deal for me with some kind of bad news in hockey, when we lost in a Stanley Cup final. It was the biggest loss in my career, and it was tough. At that time, I want to quit hockey pretty much, but time goes by and you healed up. It still hurts. It will hurt, I think, the rest of my life. But how I said before, losing is part of the hockey, part of the sports, or life anyway. But so it was one of the biggest challenge for me to get over the Stanley Cup final loss.
Yeah, for sure. Trevor, if you have something else you want to ask, go ahead, open your microphone and
I've got one more.
Okay, go ahead.
How did you initially get into the NHL as a player for the Detroit Red Wings? You said that you didn't get drafted. So how did you get inside the NHL?
So I was 21 years old, and I was playing in a top Czech league. I was in top 10 scoring leaders, I think, that year. I got my first invitation to national team, so I play national games, and I think that was one of the reasons I got signed by Detroit after that season, and they knew about me a lot because I knew coach from from our under 20 world's juniors championship. So he was a development coach for them, and I know that their scout were there. He was coming to watch me since I was 18, so they kind of knew about me, but they wait, and they signed me as a free.
Agent.
Okay, good. Calix, do you have something else you want to ask? If you do, just open your mic and go ahead.
Why do you get interest of playing ice hockey?
Say it again, please.
Why do you get interest of playing ice hockey?
Why?
Možná Nagano, ne? Řekni.
Nagano.
Yeah. My dad was one of the reasons I started to play hockey, and I like it a lot. I always do other sports too, but hockey was my number one. And after we won, how Coach Rudolph gave me a little hint. So after we won in Nagano, the Olympic Games, 1998. So it got even more popular in Czech Republic, and this sport was number one. It still is, I think, and that's why I stay with the hockey, and I love that game. And how I said before, it's for me, it's the biggest or greatest game in the world.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Calix. And then we had Sky wanted to ask, what do you do on your free time?
There is not much, a lot of free time in when the regular season is going on. So I'm always when we are home, we are oftenly on the road for a couple of days or a week. And when I'm home, I always try to spend my free time with my family. My son just got born in January, so I try to spend as much as it's time with him, and with my wife and my little dog too. So right now, when it's quarantine time, we go to the park for a walk. And other than that, I try to spend some time or to do fuck it up. Jsem zakoktal, tyhle, to je nejhorší vždycky. I try to spend some time to invest in my body. I get massages or stuff like that. I go to sauna. I'll try to regenerate a little bit.
Good. Thank you. And then Ambrose is not here yet. Ambrose had a question, but he's still in a school meeting, I guess. So we have a couple questions that I'm going to ask, which came from the players, but are really good. One question was, I have been really curious about this. If you hear about trade rumors about yourself or teammate, how does the team adjust to the situation? If there's rumors about trades going on inside the team.
Oh, yeah. When the trade deadline when it's coming, everyone who has no no clausule in a contract, like no trade or no movement, is starting to worry a little bit, and you never know what's gonna happen, what kind of deals are going through the GM's heads, and it's not a it's not an easy part in it's not an easy day in a regular season, but it is what it is, and everyone has to deal with that. And I think in the locker room, the most of the trades when it's happening that are in the locker rooms, when they are selling out the teams, they are out of the playoffs, or they don't have a chance to make a playoff, so they pretty much selling out the team. So those kind of guys are going mostly to the playoffs team to get them stronger before so we always been of the year we didn't worry about it that much.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Can I ask a couple for Preston?
Yeah, these are coming from Preston right now.
Yeah, he picked two. The number one is what is it like scoring a game-winning goal and an empty netter in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final to seal the deal against an elite goalie in Brendan Holtby? That's his question.
Yeah, it was one of my biggest games so far in my career. We won that game. It was Stanley Cup Finals. I scored 2 goals, game-winning goal, and after that game, I felt great. It was awesome. Something what are you gonna remember till the rest of your life, and it was great for sure. But it kind of ruined that moment because we lost that whole final after that. So it still brings me bad memories, but is a still it is a still very great memory.
Kind of follow-up question to that. He asked also the Game 7 5-minute major against the Sharks, life-changing. What was it like that moment when you had the 5-minute?
Yeah, those kind of situations happen sometimes too. You're up 3-0 and 10 minutes before end of the game, and then one bad call from the referee can change the whole game, whole series, whole season for you. And after game, you mad, pissed, you want to punch someone or something. I was so angry, but those games happens, and you just have to deal with that and forget about it. And I said before, focus on the next game. But I know that was the hardest part because the next game was in the 6 months. But yeah, it was tough loss, but it happens. I don't want to blame referees. It's a fast game. They didn't see it. They cannot use a replay at that time. They changed the rule after that, so right now it's different. But at that time, they didn't have a chance to look at it. And they saw a lot of blood on the ice. It was their best player, and he decided to give us a major. And you saw what happened next.
Yeah.
My guess is it's still sensitive in Vegas.
It is. Since then, Sharks are the biggest rivals for us. It's a great rivalry. Every time we play games against them, especially exhibition games, it's fired up and it's good. I like it, and I think it's a great rivalry right now. And if I can count it, I think we play against them 7 games in the playoffs, then twice in the exhibition before the new season, and first 2 games for the regular season against Sharks. So we play them many times in a short in like 20 games. We played 12 or 13 times Sharks. So it's our biggest rival right now.
Cool. Okay, good. And then a couple more questions. Ambrose, I can't see Ambrose still on the meeting, so I'm just gonna ask for him because it's a good question. So apart from skill, what is the most important that the young player should focus on their development? Apart from the skill, like when you were younger, not only hockey skill, what did you do?
Not hockey skill.
Yeah, apart from stick handling and just knowing how to shoot, what should the younger players focus on?
Oh, the most important thing I think in today's hockey is skating. If you're not a good skater and you have skills, there is no much time you can use those skills if you're not skating. So when I was little, we didn't do much power skating, so I have to working on it right now every summer with a skills coach. So I always try to improve my skating because the game is getting faster and faster every year, and who's not a good skater or fast skater can play in NHL. So you have to skate pretty good, and yeah, for sure don't forget about the skills like shooting and stick handling, but skating is the biggest part too.
Good. And then one question for me, I don't think we touched it on this meeting yet. What other sports did you do when you were younger, as their age, 10 plus?
I played lots of soccer, or I don't know if you call it football in Hong Kong. Rudolph?
I don't know.
You know? No?
I think football here.
Football?
I'm like so.
I play tennis, basketball. I do track and field. I did gymnastics too. I did pretty much every sport. So sport is my passion. So I like to do any kind of sport activity. So when I was little, my dad always tried to teach me something new or learn me some new games. So I play lots of games, and it was a lot of fun.
Good. And then there was one father who wanted to ask a question as well. As a professional player, how much you practice daily, and what's your routine like?
I practice pretty much every day. We have 4 days off in a month, so every week we get 1 day off without travel or practice or games. So not much time you get days off. So and my routine, if it's practice, I pretty much I'm in the arena from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. So pretty much every time 4 hours, sometimes longer if I need more take care of my body more than usual. So it takes a lot of time to be pro, and but it's also your job. So you have to do your job 100% and be ready for the next games. And there's a lot of games, so there's not much time, and it's a lot of practices, a lot of games, lots of travel for sure, but it's all worth it.
Good, thank you. Okay, hey guys, if somebody still have something you want to ask, question, you know how to raise your hand with the Zoom thing. So do it now if you still have something you want to know, you want to ask. Did you just raise your hand, Rudolf?
No, I don't. I'm trying to, but I don't know how.
Okay, Rudolf, you can ask.
I think it's interesting story. Nosek, would you mind telling us that your like what happened before the first NHL game in Detroit? If it was like some interesting like with call-ups or something, because I think it's an interesting story to tell.
Yeah, I was 3 years in AHL before I make it to the NHL on a like regular basis. So I get some call-ups during those 3 years, and those call-ups were sometimes pretty crazy. For example, I played a game on Friday night. I finished that game at 10 o'clock at night or 10 p.m. After the game, they told me I have to go to Detroit. So I drove to Detroit.
How far was Detroit from Grand Rapids?
I drove to Detroit like for three hours, and then so I got there around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Go to bed. I woke up at 10 o'clock, I think, and there was a I think afternoon game, 1 o'clock p.m., and I just took a warm up with the team, and they kind of they didn't know if Zetterberg was gonna be ready, so I have to take a warm up with them, and Zetterberg was ready, so they told me to pack up my stuff and fly to Chicago. On that day, I play at night at 7 p.m. in Chicago game for AHL team. After the game, I took a bus with the team to Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, they told me I have to catch a 6 a.m. morning flight to Detroit when I play that day finally at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was Friday game, Saturday warm up in Detroit, flight to Chicago, game there, and bus to Milwaukee. Sunday night, flight to Detroit and play NHL game there. So pretty crazy, but it is what it is sometimes.
Now you made it a little bit more stable for yourself. Okay, everybody wants to score goals, and you're a forward. If you have a breakaway or penalty shot, you choose a shot or deke.
I always was deker. I'm saying was because and I think in these days when you're going in a top speed in a game, it's better shoot the puck. I don't know why. I couldn't say why. I couldn't say why, but I think it's a better chance to score in these days when you shoot. But when I was little, like you guys, I always deke. So I think it's easier to stay when you try to pull some kind of a move, some Forsberg move, for example. I scored it a couple times too when I was young. And Ruda knows my favorite.
I still have nightmares.
Backhand 5-hole, right, Rudo?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite breakaway.
Yeah, I still have some nightmares through nights till now.
Okay, good. Hey, I don't have any more questions, guys. Nobody raised their hand, so I think it's time to say thank you for you, Thomas. I hope, guys, everybody, you learned something. One word that came out from Thomas' mouth a lot was hard work, and that's the only way to make yourself.
How they're saying here a lot: work hard and have fun.
Work hard and have fun. Exactly. Guys, if you want now, you can open your microphones, say thank you, whichever language you want, Thomas, and then you can leave the meeting. Thank you so much, Thomas, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Arigato.
Thank you.
That's fun.
Thank you.
And boys, after you say thank you, leave the meeting, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thank you.
no problem.
Hugo, Calix, Adrian, leave the meeting.
I think Adrian, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thomas, do you use Facebook?
I do use Facebook, yes. Ruda has my account.
Yeah, everything you will see on Tomas Nosek Facebook, it's my post.
Because I tried to screenshot some of the Zoom meeting that you guys have just now.
Nosy, you want me to share it on your fan page on Facebook? Is it okay? Yeah?
Jo, můžeš, jasný.
Great.
Eric, you got the record, right?
Yeah.
So we can maybe cut some pieces